Pretty Girl Club. Welcome back to the Thin Privilege series. One of the pretty girls said, "Hey, can you make a video on cheap, easy, healthy meals specifically for women trying to get more of a toned model look?" I'm 5'11" and 175. When I first started watching you, I was 220. Also, what workouts are best for achieving a toned look? I'm very busy with work and school, so I need meals that are easy to make. I can't make excuses. Also, how do I really fight off the beluga in me? I feel like since I've dropped a lot of weight, it's been hard to stop emotionally eating. Thank you so much. If you can throw in some convenient on the go healthy meal ideas, I don't know if that's a thing, but I'm on the go a lot. So I would say my main on the go item is probably protein bars or protein shakes. I do like the Core Power shakes or any version of a protein bar that has at least 20 grams of protein or more. That's probably my biggest on the go kind of like a snack or like a replacement for a candy bar. Um, but as far as like cheap healthy meals, cucumbers are something I eat all the time. Watermelon. I've got watermelon for as cheap as $1.50. You don't have to buy the entire watermelon. You can just buy like a quarter of a watermelon at the grocery store. So I've done that. I also do like cabbage. That's about $1 or $1.50 for an entire thing of cabbage. And then I just chop it up. I make it in the slow cooker, and then if I were to take it on the go, I would just pack it up in mason jars or put it in like some sort of glass container. I don't tend to put my food in plastic. I'm kind of a snob when it comes to that. I'm pretty biased against plastic, so I try not to eat or drink out of plastic if I can help it. So when I used to have a 9 to 5 job, I would just put my healthy foods in like the glass Tupperware. But mason jars are the cheapest, and you don't have to get the actual name brand mason jars. But I would just get those and put them in my little lunch pail, and I would bring that to work. I also used to do overnight oats. So that's something that's really cheap. You could get the big thing of oats for about $5 or less, and you just put in some frozen berries if you have some. That's cheap. If you don't have like berries in your fridge, you can do regular berries, you can do frozen berries. Sometimes I'll put like a little bit of that low calorie maple syrup in there. I don't usually put milk in my overnight oats. I'm not a huge fan of dairy. I try to really limit my dairy. So I'll still have dairy sometimes, but I don't have it every day because I don't really like how my body reacts to it. You're basically drinking animal pus in a lot of cases. So I don't usually put a lot of milk and stuff in my overnight oats. I'll just do like water, or if I can find some alternative, then I'll use that. So you can do like almond milk or something. Some people even do like the vegan yogurt. They put a couple of tablespoons of that, but you have to be careful with overnight oats though, because it's very easy to go over in terms of calories. But you can get very creative with those. I used to meal prep those all the time, and that would really keep me very full for like almost the entire day. Also, what is this obsession that beluga culture has with being full? Everything is like, oh, I have to be full. Oh, but I'm not full. Oh, but I'm not done. Who told you to eat until you're full? Like, let's think about this for a minute. Who told us that our stomachs have to be stuffed? That's just a cultural brainwashing thing. So it's like, no, my stomach doesn't have to be stuffed in order for me to survive. And I think that part of why some women are still belugas is because they hate their jobs. They hate their everyday life. So the biggest thing they have to look forward to is that lunch break. So that's why they're always going to the freaking restaurant in my neighborhood. They're always coming over here. All the business people who work in my neighborhood, they want to eat up all the food from the restaurants over here. So then by the time the day is over, then the restaurant is like, oh, we're out of mac and cheese. Oh, we don't have any more yams. Oh, we don't have any pumpkin. We don't have any pecan pie. Because all the belugas in the entire city, they hated their jobs so much that during their lunch break, they had to go sabotage themselves and they had to go fuck themselves over by eating pecan pie from the nearest restaurant. So I think that's another beluga brainwashing tactic. This whole mindset that, oh, you have to be full. No, I don't have to be full. In fact, I actually like how I feel when my stomach is empty. I like when I'm not constantly digesting food. I like it when I don't constantly have gas. And has anyone noticed that most belugas are always angry? They're always anxious. They're always worried about something. Anxious about whether or not she's pretty enough. Anxious about a man. Wondering if her boyfriend's cheating. She's anxious about her job. So a lot of this emotional eating, that comes from not having emotional regulation skills, and it comes from staying in toxic environments. Toxic environments make you fat. So I think that's another thing too. Like a lot of people in 9 to 5 culture, they teach this mindset of, oh, eating lunch is very important, and you have to eat in order to socialize. No, you don't. You don't have to eat to socialize. Also, why would I follow and believe anything that mainstream media has taught me? I mean, if there's one group of people that I can trust to lead me into the pits of hell, it is the people who control the mainstream narratives. So I'm naturally a very rebellious type of person. So I think that's part of why I'm able to be thin. It's because I don't want to be like the belugas. I like having a sense of being different. I like feeling unique. I like feeling special. So being thin is actually one of the ways that I feel special. Being healthy, because I'm like, yeah, I'm a pretty girl, so I'm gonna have some green beans for lunch. I'm gonna have like some cauliflower and some yam, or maybe like some pumpkin or something. So that makes me feel special. It makes me feel different. I don't want to fit in with all the belugas. I don't want to fit in with all these corporate slaves and corporate drones. So I think a really big reason why most people stay belugas, or they're a size struggle large, lying to themselves saying they're just a size large when they're really like a 1X or a 2X. I think a big part of that is because she literally works in an office filled with fat ass bitches. So it's like, okay, if everybody in my entire department is over 200, then yeah, I'm more likely to fall into those types of habits. And I think that sometimes people eat as a way to people please. That's something I used to do. Like, oh, it's so and so's birthday, so of course I'm going to eat the cake. Oh, well, so and so cooked for everybody, so of course I've got to try her lasagna. I have to try the mac and cheese. No, actually, I don't. And anybody who doesn't respect my boundaries can kick rocks. They can get blocked. I don't need them in my life. So I think part of why women are belugas at work is because deep down inside they hate their jobs. They have nothing to look forward to. They don't have any hobbies outside of work. That's another thing. They don't have anywhere else to go. They don't have anyone to impress. They don't have anything where they're getting their picture taken or where they need to look good. So part of what always kept me in check in the office is, excuse me, after work, I have somewhere to be. I have somewhere important to go after work. So I was always doing stuff outside of just the 9 to 5, and that was another big motivating factor. That's why I say that food is the biggest source of dopamine for belugas. That's all they have to look forward to. They have no friends, no hobbies. They just go to work, come home, work, gym, home, work, gym, home. That's all they do. They don't leave their house unless it's to go purchase more food. The only time they leave their house is literally to spend money, to chase after dick, so going on dates or going to get fucked by some dusty who lives over in the ghetto. So they're doing stuff like that. So those aren't really fun, exciting events to look forward to. So another way that I stayed skinny when it came to the workplace is having fun events going on, like going to a fashion show or going to like a girls' night hangout. Maybe we were trying out a new bar. We were going to go hang out at the plaza that weekend. I talk a lot about the plazas in the Patreon. So the plaza is kind of like, how they have those little strip malls, or they have like this long line of stores, and then they have all these little places where you can hang out, like little bars. They have little coffee shops. They have arcades, places where you go play pool. Those are all examples of activities that I used to do when I worked a 9 to 5. Like I would do those activities after work. So I had something to look forward to. I was more excited about looking cute in my outfits versus getting excited about a cupcake. If the biggest thing I have to look forward to is a cupcake or a piece of toast for breakfast, like part of what made me a beluga is literally that's the best thing I had to look forward to, was eating 3 pieces of toast for breakfast. And yes, I literally ate 3 pieces of white bread with some butter. That was my breakfast. And it's because I was at a job that I hated at the time. I really wanted to pursue my passions. I really wanted to be a content creator. This is before I started my YouTube. I knew that I wanted to be able to work for myself and be a content creator, but I was kind of procrastinating. So the food thing is just a coping mechanism. It's a way to emotionally numb yourself. That's what a lot of belugas do. They're emotionally numbing themselves. So you're never going to be able to get skinny if every time you're triggered, you turn to a fork. If every time you're triggered, you go to the refrigerator, it's only a matter of time before you're shaped like a refrigerator. So I had to learn how to emotionally regulate myself outside of food. So now, if I get triggered, first of all, I cut off the trigger. Is your trigger your boyfriend? Do you live with your triggers? Are you surrounded by people who constantly kind of pull you down emotionally? Because that was step one for me. I told you guys, like when I quit my job, I immediately lost 5 pounds. Same thing, like whenever I'm single, I noticed I'm much more on it when it comes to like my weight and my fitness and stuff because I'm investing more time in myself. So I think for a lot of women, they're belugas because they're extremely male centered. Think about it. Most of the male centered women that you see on YouTube, a lot of them actually are overweight women, or they're women who had a femcel mindset, or they're women with inferiority complexes. So I think that's another reason that some women stay belugas because they don't have any reason to be thin. Why? Why does she need to be thin? She's not pretty. She doesn't have the face card. She doesn't have any money. She doesn't have any resources. She has no options. Nobody wants to be around her. So I think that's another reason some women stay belugas because they're like, okay, even if I looked like a supermodel tomorrow in terms of my body, that's not going to really change anything. So it's kind of like this fuck it mentality. I've noticed that, especially within the black culture, kind of this mentality of, okay, well, fuck it. No matter what, I'm never going to get the life I want. I'm never going to have the privilege I want. So fuck it. I'll eat all the cupcakes. I'm going to eat the chicken wings. I'm going to binge on DoorDash. So because they have this mindset of, I don't have anything to look forward to, my life is going to suck either way. So YOLO, it's this YOLO mindset. It's kind of like an extreme version of a YOLO mindset. So the beluga mindset is a YOLO mindset when it comes to food, except they keep doing the same YOLO thing like every meal, or they do it like every day. Or they make an excuse. That's another thing that keeps them as being belugas. They'll be like, oh, well, I was being good all week, so now I can have these cupcakes. Okay, so you're telling me that because you were quote unquote being good, now you want to go and sabotage and completely fuck everything up by eating 5,000 calories in one sitting? And then later on, they're going to regret it. So they kind of go through these cycles. But yeah, as far as feeling like you still have a beluga living inside of you, we all have a beluga living inside of us. I still have a beluga living inside of me, but guess what? That bitch doesn't control me. I'm not controlled by my emotions. I'm not controlled by my desires. Thoughts are not hunger. So just because I think about cupcakes, that doesn't mean I'm hungry for cupcakes or I need a cupcake. Like today, actually, I went to my favorite bakery. Oh my God. So I was doing some grocery shopping and the store is right next to my favorite bakery and they have some of the best baked goods I've ever seen in my life. Like, I've never seen that variety of baked goods. They have bakery items from all over the world. So they have like they have like baklava and like all these fancy cinnamon rolls and just so many random things that I've never seen. So, did I want some sweets? Yeah, of course. There's a little beluga living inside of me that was like, oh, you can just go, just go spend $30 really quick. Just go get some sweets and just keep it in the pantry. But I knew that that was not good for me. So I think sometimes women become belugas because they're bad at impulse control. It takes a lot of impulse control in order to be thin. You cannot become skinny and lose weight if you're not good at controlling impulses. So, yeah, I mean, it just takes discipline. Some people need to learn how to tell themselves no. That's really the reason that a lot of them are still belugas. They don't know how to say no. It's like, ma'am, if you can't even say no to a cupcake, what else in your life is fucked up? Because how are you going to say no to a financial scam? How are you going to say no to overspending? How are you going to say no to not managing your time? Like, that's a very important quality to have, not just to be thin, but also like just in life. I need to learn how to say no. I need to learn how to set boundaries. And that includes setting boundaries with myself. So part of how I got out of being a beluga, especially when like working a job or if I'm on the go, first of all, if I'm on the go, if I'm that hungry to where I'm on the go and I'm thinking about food, I've already fucked up. I already fucked up because that means I wasn't thinking about myself. I didn't prioritize myself. I was prioritizing running errands. I was prioritizing my 9-to-5 job that doesn't give a fuck about me. I prioritized kids, or, like if you have kids or if you have siblings or family you're taking care of. So I don't let that become an excuse either. Oh, I'm on the go, so like I have to eat fast food now. No, I'm on the go and I'm not feeling well and I'm hungry because I neglected myself. Weight gain is self-neglect. I said what I said. So if I notice that when I'm out on the go and running errands, I'll just make sure, let me eat some protein ahead of time. I don't have to have a whole meal. I don't have to do anything fancy. It doesn't have to be this extravagant thing. That's another thing too. A lot of belugas, they need everything to be extravagant. Everything has to be decked out in barbecue sauce and frosting and butter, and they need all the extras. They need all the bells and whistles, and then they care about the presentation. Have you ever seen those people that are like, they get angry, they'll be like, oh, the presentation at the restaurant wasn't good. They need garnishes everywhere. They need the little drinks with the umbrellas in them and shit. And it's like, I would rather have my life be grandiose instead of just my food. So, it's a very simple question that I ask myself, like, which one would I rather have? Do I want the food or do I want the body? Do I want to eat the snack or do I want to look like a snack? Do I want a flat stomach or do I want a fat stomach? It's a very simple answer. So when I'm rolling through the grocery store and then I smell some fresh croissants or something, I think to myself, okay, do I want to be a beluga? Yes or no? Do I want to gain weight? And especially for those of you who are already teetering on a size large, you're already 160, you're already 175, 180. Are you willing to go to 185 just so you can eat a piece of bread? Because let's think about what makes you a beluga. Carbs, sugar. It's the white stuff. I'm telling you, it's sugar, salt, or flour. So whatever it is that you feel like you're a beluga over, a bag of chips, okay, that's just carbs and sodium. So it's like, am I going to become a beluga because of carbs and sodium? Oh no, it's not just carbs and sodium. These are the barbecue kettle chips. No, if you break it down to what it actually is, based on the fucking molecules, it's carbs and sodium, bitch. That's all it is. So it's nothing special. I had to learn to take food off the pedestal. I'm not gonna sit over here and simp over some barbecue kettle chips. I'm not gonna simp over the salt and pepper kettle chips. Those were like some of my favorite snacks when I was a beluga. I used to love those kettle chips. But I'm not about to sit here and be a slave to a bag of chips. If I said I want to level up, then I need to do what I said. Because at the end of the day, life is a gift. I mean, I value my life. That's really another part of it as well. I value my life. I value my future. I'm grateful to be alive. I want to live my life to the fullest. And being a beluga does not align with that. It doesn't align with me being in the happiest emotional state. Because I know how I get. Once I start gaining weight, if the scale were to go all the way up to like 160 or 170, I already know that I would be depressed. That is a depression trigger for me. Being obese and being overweight, that is absolutely a depression trigger. So I'm very honest with myself too. Like, okay, if I were super fat right now and constipated and my whole entire gut biome is off balance and everything, I would be sad. So is it really worth eating that croissant? Because that same mindset, what's stopping me from eating a croissant tomorrow too? So it's like, no, at some point I have to be an adult. At some point I have to take responsibility. Not only is it a waste of money for me to spend all my stuff at like the bakery, but it's also a waste of my stomach space. It's a waste of calories because it's not going to make me feel good. So that's something else that stops me from listening to the inner beluga. It's asking myself, how am I going to feel after I eat that pizza? How will I feel emotionally after I eat 5,000 calories? Like, am I really going to feel good afterwards? Am I really going to feel like, oh, that was a great decision? No. Chances are I'm not going to enjoy the food anyway because I'm going to feel guilty, or I might feel sick in my stomach, or I might feel like, clearly I'm just trying to cope with something. So that's why I don't like going down this pathway of emotional eating. And it's like, okay, for those of you who are emotionally eating, what emotions do you tend to feel before eating? Because I've noticed in my case, I would emotionally eat with every emotion. If I'm happy, I eat. It's somebody's birthday, so it's time to eat. Oh, I just got a new client. Okay, it's time to celebrate with some cupcakes. Oh, we just got paid. Let's go out to a restaurant now. Oh, so and so's in town, so let's go celebrate by going to a restaurant. Oh, it's Christmas time, so let me eat 5,000 calories instead of 1,000. So it's this mindset of if I'm happy or like if I want to celebrate something, I have to eat. No. Why is that the only way to celebrate something? That's beluga brainwashing. That's another American cultural brainwashing. The only way you can celebrate is by eating. If it's a birthday, you have to eat. If it's Christmas, you eat. Thanksgiving, eat. Cookout, eat. Family's there, you eat. Somebody dies, you eat. So that's a dusty mindset. I'm not a I associate dusties with being a sheep. Like you just follow what everybody else is doing. You're trying to keep up with the Joneses, or you're trying to keep up with mainstream society. Whatever's popular, that you just want to follow that. That's a dusty ass mindset. So no, I'm not a dusty bitch. I'm not a dusty bitch. I'm not a follower. So, no, I don't want to just eat because it's a celebration. I have to find other ways to celebrate myself. So now, if it's something special, I will go to the spa. Maybe I'll go get a manicure. Maybe I will do a journal entry to celebrate myself, kind of like emotionally anchoring in this happy feeling. Maybe I will go buy a new candle. Maybe I'll get a new scented thing that you plug into the wall from Bath and Body Works, and then my apartment smells good, and that's how I celebrate Christmas. I have an entire apartment that smells like the trees, or I can make a healthy version of lemonade to celebrate summertime instead of celebrating by getting ice cream. Or something I just discovered actually at my grocery store, they have these chocolate covered bananas. It's literally just a frozen banana covered in dark chocolate. And I wouldn't call it low calorie because, bananas are a little bit more calorie dense. But still, I'd rather have a dark chocolate covered banana versus a giant size extra large milkshake. That's the difference between a beluga mindset versus a skinny mindset. It's also finding replacements. And another thing, too, I see a lot of people talking about portion control, and portion control is important. But for some people, they are just straight up belugas. They can't portion control. They have addictive personality types. So if you are the emotional eater, you're probably one of those addictive personality types, or you're more likely to be addicted to food. Like in my case, I'm the type where I can't just eat sugar and then just be done. I can't just eat a bunch of potato chips and fast food and then not crave it afterwards. No, they literally formulate those foods so you become addicted to them. So I'd rather just get that out of my life and then just focus on more natural food. A lot of belugas, they're ungrateful. They don't appreciate natural flavors. They have to have everything artificial and fake as fuck. They only like fake seasoning. They only like fake flavors that were made in a lab. If that's not a dusty mindset, I don't know what is. But as far as like cheap, easy, and healthy meals, I get most of my meals from the grocery store. That's another beluga habit right there. Is most of the beluga's meals come from restaurants, and then she'll try to make the excuse, oh no, but I got it from the Whole Foods Hot Bar. Oh, but I got it from Chick-fil-A, and it's like, okay, but you're still eating factory food. You're depending on an entire factory to create your food. And you're also being overcharged, and you're also financially irresponsible, most likely. Oh, yeah, I forgot to tell you guys. I saw a TikTok trend where belugas were showing how much they spent at DoorDash. Women are spending over $6,000 a year on DoorDash. That's $500 a month. $500 a month on DoorDash. And some of them were spending up to $500 per week because they were just DoorDashing everything. Just every meal was a DoorDash meal. So that's another part of the beluga mindset. You have to depend on an entire restaurant just to produce a meal for you to eat. You have to depend on an entire factory just for you to eat that cookie. Okay, ma'am, you're the one with the problem, not me. So a lot of skinny women, we know how to appreciate simple things. We know how to appreciate simple foods. It doesn't have to be complex and filled with fake chemicals and covered in Dorito dust and covered in hot Cheeto dust in order for us to eat it. We know how to make do with what we have. So I think that's another mindset that separates skinny women from like beluga women. I just feel like a lot of beluga women, they want their food to be an event. It's not just a meal. It's not just fuel. They tie like way more meaning to food than what skinny people do. They tend to like pedestalize it. They pedestalize certain foods. They pedestalize certain restaurants. They bow down and worship DoorDash. I mean, you're damn near paying the bills of the company. You're over here paying these DoorDashers a full-time salary because you don't know how to resist temptation. So I don't want to ever put DoorDash on a pedestal. And my question for all those belugas who spent thousands at DoorDash, my question is, how many thousands did you invest in yourself? How many thousands did you spend? You know what I spent $500 on this month? Well, actually not 500, but I literally just spent about $200. I just got a package for a new gym so I can get like a certain number of classes. It's like a high-end gym. That's what I spent my $200 on this month. Like, if I have an extra $200, the last thing I'm thinking about is DoorDash. Why would I want to eat my money away? So that's why I say a lot of women who are belugas and they're emotional eaters, they're probably emotional spenders as well. They're just looking for a dopamine hit. So that's their problem. They're looking to food to be the dopamine hit. How about I look at my six-pack in the mirror? That's my dopamine hit. Looking at this face card, that's my dopamine hit. Having other people asking me for advice, that's my dopamine hit. Having people giving me free clothes and free stuff in general, that's my dopamine hit. Getting pretty privilege in general, not just from men, but also from women, that is my dopamine hit. Knowing that I'm healthy, actually having energy. You know what? I was actually thinking today about how I'm glad that I eat a lot of protein because when I get older, I'm not going to have to worry as much. You know, I'm going to have a healthier foundation for when I'm in my 50s, 60s, and 70s versus all the belugas who are like obese right now. What are their older years going to look like? What is their side profile going to be looking like? What's their stomach going to be looking like? What's that hair going to be looking like? But one of the pretty girls, she said, what workouts are best for achieving a toned look? I don't really put workouts on a hierarchy. I try to do lower intensity workouts. And if I am doing high intensity, it's only like a couple times a week. So like for me, doing dance classes and stuff, that's a little bit higher intensity. So I don't do those every day because one mistake a lot of belugas make is they try to outrun a bad diet. Your diet and exercise, those are two totally separate things. So once I started to separate those two things, that was how I was able to lose weight. Because I wasn't over here thinking, oh, let me try to go running because I just ate an additional 500 calories. You're not going to burn 500 calories from running unless you run 5 miles around a 10-minute pace, which you're probably not going to do. Oh, I just need to run 6 miles because I had a couple of Reese's bars. So you're telling me you're going to run an entire 10K just because you ate a Reese's bar? Do you hear how unhinged that sounds? If I have to run an entire 10K just to burn it off, I probably shouldn't be eating it. But this pretty girl said, I'm very busy with work and school, so I need meals that are easy to make. I can't make excuses. How do I fight off the beluga in me? I feel like since I've dropped a lot of weight, it's been hard to stop emotionally eating. Thank you so much. If you can throw in some convenient on-the-go healthy meal ideas, I don't know if that's a thing, but I'm on the go a lot. So something else I used to bring with me in a Ziploc bag is grapes. Any sort of fruit or vegetable, I used to bring that in a Ziploc bag. So if I'm going to the coffee shop to study, if I am going to something after class or after school or after work, I would just have my Ziploc bag. So think of the healthiest thing that can fit inside of a Ziploc bag. That's your on-the-go snack. So in my case, it's celery, it's carrots, it's boiled eggs in the morning. Sometimes it would be a protein Pop-Tart. It's about 200 calories and about 20 grams of protein. Maybe some grapes. Maybe like some chopped peppers. I love peppers. I eat peppers raw. So, just chop peppers and put those in a Ziploc bag. It's not trail mix because that's clean bulking. If you fill an entire Ziploc bag with trail mix, that's going to be about 700 calories. So don't do that. But something I used to do though with my trail mix to help kind of portion that out was I would do the smaller Ziploc bags. So they have the regular Ziplocs and then they have the smaller ones. So it's kind of like, I don't know, it almost looks like a pencil bag or something. Like it's a skinny, long, small Ziploc bag. So you can do something like that. But yeah, pretty much fruits and vegetables were my on the go snacks. And another thing too, I had to learn what makes me feel satisfied. I am not satisfied with snacking all day. I can't snack. I'm not a snacker. I realized that if I just snack all day, my body is still going to be like, okay, where's the meal? My body wants a meal. My body wants a hot meal. And so I've learned to listen to my body. So that's why salads never worked for me. I was still a beluga on salads. It's because for whatever reason, my brain didn't register that as being a real meal because it was cold, like the temperature was cold. So I've noticed that my brain associates anything cold or room temperature with not being a real meal. And so later on, I might have a little bit of food noise, like, okay, I still want something. So I've learned to kind of listen to my body. So my body, since it wants a hot meal, I try to make sure that I always have a hot meal. So like some salmon, you can get pre-made meals. That's what I do now, but that's more expensive. So I don't tend to recommend that on this channel because we have people of all income levels on this channel. But yeah, I would try to eat a hot meal every day. So in my case, usually that would be some salmon. It's usually for me like salmon with asparagus or salmon with some broccoli, maybe a little bit of brown rice. So yeah, some sort of hot meal, not pasta, not a big giant bowl of pasta that's covered in fettuccine sauce and covered in that white Alfredo shit or whatever that nasty shit is. Not that, but some sort of hot meal where I feel nourished. Because I've also noticed that all hot meals are not the same. So what I used to do is I would crave a hot meal and I would go straight to DoorDash and I would get a giant burger and then I would try to put an egg on the burger. So like whenever I was putting it on DoorDash, I would have them add an egg and that was me being quote unquote healthy. Because I'm like, oh, I put some extra protein on there. So like that's still good. See, that's that struggle medium mindset. That's that struggle medium shit. If I want protein, why the fuck did I go to DoorDash and order the greasiest version of protein there is? No, that's lazy. That's a lazy mindset. So I had to learn, okay, how can I have hot meals at home that make me feel very good? I've noticed that salmon makes my body feel really good. My body likes seafood, so salmon, shrimp, any sort of fish, tilapia, even like tuna. I don't like the hot tuna though. I've noticed that I do like tuna and crackers or like salmon dip and crackers. I like stuff like that. So like salmon dip, even with celery, dipping that in the salmon dip. So that's more so what my body likes. My body reacts very well to eggs. So I had to basically experiment with my body and kind of listen to my body like, okay, what makes me feel the most nourished? What calms down my hunger the most? For me, it's protein. I'm pretty sure it's protein for everyone, but all protein is not created equal. For some people, they like chicken. I've noticed a lot of people are obsessed with chicken. I am not obsessed with chicken. I don't really like chicken very much. I will force myself to eat it, but I don't really prefer it. But if I have salmon or like some sort of fish, it's very lightweight. My body just soaks it up. I can feel myself having a lot of energy. Same thing with avocado. So just like sliced avocado is something that I'll eat. Like for breakfast, I might have some bacon with some eggs and then some avocado. Oh, Exoticals United, you can't eat bacon. Yes, I can because I eat bacon in a small, just a small portion. So maybe like one strip or maybe even a half a strip. That's how satisfying it is to me. It's because the fat from the bacon, the little bit of grease or whatever, it kind of solves my little craving that I have sometimes for grease. And that's another thing. If you're a beluga, what is it that you're actually craving? Like in my case, I wasn't craving protein when I ordered the burger. I was actually craving salt and carbs and grease. So I had to be honest with myself. Like Exoticals United, you're not seeking after nutrients right now. You're literally just trying to feed a craving. And do you really want to feed a craving? Is that really smart? But this pretty girl said, can you make a video on easy, cheap, healthy meals, specifically for women trying to get more of a toned model look? So as far as cheap, healthy meals, that's another thing too. I realize that I don't really like being super cheap all the time. I don't like being cheap because if I'm constantly cutting corners, I don't want to just eat rice and beans for the rest of my life. So sometimes you have to just accept the fact that everything's not going to be cheap. That's not how life works. Everything's not always cheap. The price of eggs is up. Usually protein tends to cost more. So like in my case, I don't tend to really buy ground beef. First of all, if I'm going to eat ground beef, it has to be lean, like 93, like 90/10 or 93/7 or something. I'm not eating that 80/20 shit. So I realized that certain things that I like seaweed, I love the seaweed from Whole Foods. Oh my god, the one that comes in the jar, it's right next to the kimchi in the refrigerator aisle. That is my shit right there. But that's not cheap. It's like what, $8 or $9 just for a jar of seaweed. Even though it's like 0 calories, though, you could eat the whole jar. But I had to learn that I'm just not a cheap ass bitch. So there are certain meals where, sometimes I want like salmon. That's pretty much my favorite protein. That's expensive. That is not cheap. Eating salmon all the time. So I think that some women are belugas because they don't plan, whether it's she didn't plan her time accordingly or she didn't plan her finances accordingly. So she can't afford to get the sushi from Whole Foods, because that's another one of my favorites too. Is the little sushi platters that they have at Whole Foods. So for some people, you have to accept you're not a Walmart eating type of girl. Like in my case, I can't just go to Walmart and just be happy. Like if you were to tell me that I could never go to Whole Foods again, I can never go to Trader Joe's, I can never go to the fancy markets, then I would be upset. So I think some people just have to acknowledge the fact that they have bougie taste. So what I will do is I will get the bougie version of the healthy item. So like every couple of weeks, I'll go into my favorite deli and I'll get their chili salmon. So it's like this, that sweet chili sauce that you could get at like McDonald's or something. So they have a salmon that they actually cook in the red chili sauce. So I will go and get that sometimes, and that's kind of like fancy. It'll be like $16 just for like my little salmon, and then I can take it home and reheat it in the oven. So I'll do that, or I might go to the deli and get like some fancy pre-made vegetables or something. So you just have to figure out what works for you. But what do you ladies think? Let me know in the comment section, and I'll talk to you next time. Stay pretty, ladies.